to Infographics. My name is Sarah Johnson. I'm the Cataloging and Metadata Librarian at ESU's William Allen White Library. Today I'm just going to introduce you to infographics, what they are and how you can use them, and how you can create your own. So I have a quick little PowerPoint for you, and then I'm going to go over a few applications you can use to create your own. So infographics are multimodal representations of information, data, or knowledge. And multimodal means, quite simply, that they use multiple modes of communication. And modes can be text, like a book, and visual forms like pictures, graphs and charts, colors, fonts, and even layouts. Layout that draws your eyes from one part of the page to another. And why would somebody want to use an infographic instead of a book or instead of a video? Well, quite simply because of information overload. In today's age, there's so much information available to us, and we really just don't have enough time. With so much information on the internet, we've become quite used to just moving from one topic to another, and our attention spans have become quite short. Infographics can also be shared very easily on social media. You can find them on Facebook, on Instagram, and on Twitter. And it's easy when you find one that you like to share it with your friends. And then they can also target an audience or reach a wider audience than originally intended. Infographics make it really easy for statistics and data to be visualized. So if you have a big data set that's really hard to grasp, you can put it into relatable terms for a broader audience. So why should you use an infographic? Well, maybe you have some of that hard to grasp data, or maybe you have some really cool information that you want to share with people. Well, an infographic gives you one way to tell your story or share your information. Maybe you just want to highlight a few key points in your research. Rather than writing a long research paper, maybe an infographic would be one really cool way to do that. And it also lets you use some fun color and imagery to your advantage. Use that creative muscle that you have. So here's an example of that data overload. What is that? Well, let's put it into something that's easier to look at. So here are a few examples of really bad infographics. And I'll explain just why they're so bad. The kings of fast food. At first glance, it looks okay, right? We've got some fun colors, yellows and reds, really nice contrast with a darker background. And the images seem to make sense, right? The data is portrayed as hamburgers with little pigs. But what's not so good about this? There is a lot of information on one infographic. Not even sure what some of these charts mean if I wanted to try to interpret this data. Really, it's just too busy and too much text. Here's another infographic. At first glance, this one also seems pretty good. There's not too much text. The colors are pretty appealing. But what's not working here? Well, let's look at that pie chart. Pie charts are supposed to equal 100%, right? But what's this one equal? Go ahead and take a few minutes to do the math. That's right. That is way over 100%. So here are a few really good ones. This is just a fun infographic about infographics. It simply explains that you take a bunch of data of all different shapes and colors and sizes, and you sort it. And then you arrange it. And you present it in a visually appealing, organized way. And here's another really fun one. Infographics don't have to be all serious work. Again, use your creativity and have fun with them. So here's just a look at some Avengers. Again, look at that pie chart at the bottom. Notice the math. So when it comes time to create your infographic, here are some tips. Know your subject. Know what story you want to tell, and stick to it. What kind of layout will tell it best? Do you think a horizontal infographic will tell your story best? Or maybe something vertical? How do you want your reader's eye to move across the page? Be sure to lay out your information in that way. Convert as much text to images as you can. And stay focused. Know who your audience is. How will you appeal to them? If you want to target senior citizens, use imagery that will appeal to them. Use text that will be readable and colors that will be legible. And if you're going to use an infographic for kids, think about what appeals to kids as well. Don't cram too much text or too many images into a tight space. Think about those kings of fast food. Don't do that. And definitely proofread and check your statistics, charts, and graphs for accuracy. That goes for all of your text. Don't have spelling or grammar errors. If somebody is going to look at your infographic, make sure it looks like you know what you're talking about. So there are some tools that you can use, all for free. PowerPoint. You can actually use PowerPoint to create an infographic. We'll look at this one in a little more detail. Canva and Piktochart are two other web-based tools that you can use as well. These are free to use, but you do need to have a free account and a login to get started with these. We'll look at Canva in a little more detail today. So let's start with PowerPoint first, since we're here. Okay, in PowerPoint, you're going to start to create a new document. And you'll see up near this new search bar, there'll actually be an Infographics template button. When you click that button, you'll get a screen of many template options. I'm going to scroll down and select, let's try this 5-year infographic timeline. And I'm actually going to delete slide 2 and just work with slide 1. I'll rename it. And then just play around with a little bit of the text to show you that you can rename everything on this slide. You may be limited with some of the format here though. So this might be a section on my explorations. This might be a section on my social media, my relationships, my transportation, and just me. I'm using an example infographic idea that I use in my UL 100 class. Right now, my class is designing infographics all about themselves. So I might need to add an image of a dog. I'm going to talk about relationships with my pets. So you can insert images from the internet using online pictures. This is really great because you can search directly from Bing. Bing will pull up Creative Commons images that you can actually use for free. I'm going to pick this guy. He's really big, so I'm going to go ahead and scale him down a bit smaller and throw him in here. And this is how you can put in your own images to make infographics yours. Dogs. All right, you might have to put in a chart or graph, which really you probably should. So I'm going to put in a chart about my social media use. And I'm not going to lie, it's not very good. So again, we'll go up into the Insert section and put in a chart. I'm just going to put in a column chart. Remember, if you're going to use a pie chart, be careful. Make sure it equals 100%. Now when you insert a chart on PowerPoint, it will pull up a table box, just like in Excel. And this is where you'll enter your data. You don't have to keep all of the rows and columns. So I'll put in Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. I'll delete a couple of columns here and another row. I don't need these. And we'll just go off of usage, times per week that I use each of these. And I actually have to lie a bit because I don't really use them. So we'll say I use Twitter once a week. I use Facebook maybe 4 times a week. And Instagram twice a week. So there's my chart. I'm just going to close this box and pop back into our current document and resize the chart. It can be a little tricky to play with the sizes of your charts here, especially when you're working with such a limited amount of space. So try to be patient. Once you have your chart in there, you can use the little paintbrush to edit different aspects of it. You can change the style. I don't really like that one, but I'll keep it for now. And then you can use the plus sign to add different elements. Okay. Also, if you double click on different aspects, like the axis, you can do further edits in the bar that pops up on the right-hand side. I'm not going to go into too much detail here because that can take a lot of time, but feel free to play around with that. So let's see, we've covered inserting images, actually selecting an infographic template, and inserting charts and graphs. Those are the basics of creating a PowerPoint infographic. Then always remember to save your work. And if you're using a computer in the library, save your work to the cloud or email it to yourself. These computers won't save your work forever. Okay, so now let's move on to Canva. I've already got Canva open up in another tab here. So, once you've created an account, you can do that with an email address. You can use the school's or a different one if you'd like. you'll need to create an infographic from a template. Now this one's already in the middle here, so I'm just going to select this, and I'm going to have a blank template in the middle. On the left-hand side here, you can see there are a lot of options available. So I'm just going to pick one from the left to get started with. I'm going to zoom in just a bit so we can really see what we're working with. And I'll show you how you can change the text everywhere here. Again, I'll just create an infographic about myself. You can change the colors if you'd like. Again, make sure you pick things that won't clash too badly or at all. And then don't forget to add images. Now, Canva does have some images available in the Elements section. However, they have a lot that come at a cost. So if you wanted to look for a dog here, you'll have some free ones, but then you'll have a lot that you need to pay for. So you can insert a free one, or you can look for some other ones from Pixabay or Pexels. These two sources have a lot of photographs, but they're really cute. So those are some fun ways to insert images to your Canva infographic. If you want to insert more text, use the text button. And then when it comes time to insert an element like a chart or graph, you can just search for that in the element box. There are a lot of options here. I'll just insert another bar chart. Let's find a place to put this. So again, you'll be kind of limited here, but you can edit your data. Again, I'm just going to stick with social media for now. And if you don't want anything in that last chart, or I'm sorry, in that last column, just delete the row. There you go. And last, you can actually change the color of those bars. So there we have a chart. If you want to add a heading, just use that text here. Because it's always a good idea to have a title for your chart or graph. So we've got our text added in, our images added in, and our charts and graphs added to an infographic on Canva. Now, when you go to download this, all your changes have already been saved in Canva. But it will suggest that you download an image file as a PNG. You can do that, or a PDF or a JPEG. All of those will work just fine. You probably will get a watermark since this is a free account, but that's really not a big deal. So I hope you've learned something fun about infographics. If you have any questions or need additional help, don't hesitate to come to the reference desk on the second floor of the William Allen White Library. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day.